the meeting with pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dan?
I'm sorry. We'd like to take a moment of silence for Jeannie Benefico. Jeannie Benefico was long, well, she was born and raised in Pelham. She also is the tax assessor for the town of Pelham. Her son was the long-term police chief, Joe Benefico. Jeannie passed away at 92 years old. Two Wednesdays ago, we sent down flowers. Let's take a moment of silence for Jeannie. She basically ran the town.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah, she moved down to Florida in 1989 and then ran Florida. She was very active, very active. Okay, so did everyone get the minutes?
Yes.
Now there was two sets of minutes. There was the organizational minutes and then the legislative minutes. Let's have a motion to approve the organizational minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any comments?
The only,
Go ahead.
and this would make sense anyway, so they noted that we swore in Dr. Lon, right, Michael? We were sworn in before, so that doesn't make it to the record. But there's no record that we were sworn in anywhere, you know?
Except for your signature and the oath of
Right,
office.
okay.
But I think it should be put in there.
Could be, you know, prior
I
to
think
the
it should be.
meeting, organizational
But
meeting.
in the organizational legislative,
Organization.
so we want to add that prior to the organization.
I would put it at the beginning of the organizational, yeah. Because
Or
Yeah, that makes
was
sense.
it the legislative that Michael's was noted at?
it might be, but you guys need to vote on things,
Michael
so you.
voted in this.
And the legislative.
Yeah, you
Okay,
needed to go
okay.
first, so we could vote on it.
Right. Right.
So we want to add to the organizational minutes that the swearing in of Councilwoman Curtin, Councilwoman Burke, myself, yourself, and Judge Adam Cake by Judge John Gardner.
Okay.
Good catch.
Check.
With those changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, legislative meeting. Do I have a motion to pass the legislative meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any questions?
The only comment I had was with the section where I talked about Glover. I said, and we want a transfer station study as the first step. I thought I added, well, first and foremost, we want the light fixed,
Yeah, I think you did.
right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't reflected in there?
So we have to add that.
Yeah, yeah,
I wonder if does it make sense to attach your letter to the minutes? I don't know if
Yeah.
that's done, but
yeah, I think
it
that's
could-
fair.
It could kind of explain the whole situation.
I think that's a good idea, yeah, because I referenced the letter, right?
You have the letter.
Do I have the letter? Does Molly have the letter?
Do you have a letter?
I think so, actually. I don't
You
know.
said
Okay.
you
Do
got
you want to
it.
email it to us?
Yeah, I'll email it to you, and I'll note where my comments
Okay.
would be.
All right.
Yeah.
So you can do that, right?
Yeah,
Attach it to the
you
back
can.
of the minutes.
Yeah.
All right, that works.
So adding the editing and adding the letter, do I have a motion to pass? All in favor of passing?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, we got rid of that first. Okay, Deputy Supervisor Samansky.
Okay, so we completed our first month, with EVAC as our provider. The ambulance is still hanging out in the parking lot here. The staff was in the guild room. I sent a memo to all the departments the other day, just reminding them that the staff is in the guild room. We do have a couple of hiccups here and there, but we'll work on those. Mark, I did share with everybody the report that Mark sent, which is quite extensive. And I did speak to Dan and Mark today, and I'm not sure that we should be posting this extensive of a report. Because I think it's too many questions, people won't understand it.
Right.
So Mark just sent me, and I just sent it to you few minutes ago, a button-down report with the salient numbers, and I think that's what we should post. But I'll wait for your feedback on that. So, two other things that happened before I report on the numbers. Katie Keenan reached out to us, and I did give Mark her contact information, and he has reached out to her. They haven't had a chance to meet yet, but they will, as she has some input into what the stats she might be looking for, or the community may be looking for also. And then Augusta reached out to have EMS go there and do a little in-servicing and some other stuff. So Mark has already spoken to Augusta, and that's all set up. So Mark could not be more responsive. You text him and he calls you 30 seconds later. So I can't say anything about that. And the staffing, I haven't had one complaint about the staff. So for the month of January, there were a total of 90 calls. One on 95, 2 on the Hutch, 37 in the village of Pelham, 43 in the village of Pelham Manor, 2 in New Rochelle, 1 in Tuckahoe, and 4 in Eastchester. And those are reflected in your mutual aid numbers here. So that's why those responses, that goes up to 90. The average response time for the fly car is 4 minutes and 64 seconds. The on-site time is 16 minutes and 31
Yeah, right?
seconds.
4 minutes and 64 seconds?
4 minutes and 64 seconds.
But that would be 5 minutes and 4 seconds.
4 seconds, that's why I looked at you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 54, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
That's right, that's your math person.
The
Just
math
making
person.
sure.
I'm sorry I made that error. 4 minutes and 54 seconds.
Got
All
it.
right. Oh my goodness, oh, the print's so small, I should have made it bigger. The on-site time, which is the time that EMS is there to the ambulance, to the flight car's there to the ambulance comes,
Bless you.
on an average was 16 minutes and 31 seconds. The transportation time is 12 minutes and 58 seconds, and the turnaround time is 30 minutes and 54 seconds. Dr. Lon is not happy with that turnaround time. And the turnaround time means you take the patient to the hospital, you have to stay there until you give report to the staff. So you can't release the EMTs or the paramedics or the ambulance until that's done. We have a big offender. One hospital is the greatest offender. So Dr. Lon's going to try to work on that to see if he can improve that turnaround time. 20 patients went to Lawrence, 22 went to Sound Shore, 2 went to Mount Vernon, 9 to White Plains, and 2 to Monty Wakefield. So the other statistic is that 10 calls were canceled, 15 calls, RMA means they refused medical attention, and there were a total of 57 trips to the hospital. So pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
I will continue to refine this with Mark. If you have any information or input you want to put into it or delete or add, let me know. But I think for the first month, we haven't had too many hiccups.
The on-site, that's, they're treating the
Yes,
person
so they come to
on-site.
your house and then they would call for backup. So we
And they're working on the person and
until they
then
get them.
into the
gone.
car, so it can,
It
Whatever.
can vary
Right.
depending on what's
yeah,
Like
so
they were-
that's not, that depends on what,
wrong with the patient.
right, okay.
Yeah. As you can tell, he gave us all of the nature of the calls. In one of the, a lot of the motor vehicles, syncope, which is fainting, assault, motor vehicle pain, sick, I don't know what that means, but respiratory, cardiac, stroke.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think, going back, Carol, to what you just asked about, I think in this case, you're probably gonna see more on-site time.
Time,
Yes.
correct.
Because you're gonna have 3 EMTs there,
Right.
basically, or 2 EMTs. And
Mhm.
they could probably work more on the person than.
Right.
Correct.
And particularly, that's actually not a bad,
No, because they're
those aren't
stabilizing.
bad
the
numbers. You're stabilizing the patient before
Transport.
Transport.
You also need to know what you're.
And then sometimes they don't need transport, but they need to be helped on site.
Or sometimes they need to, but they don't want to.
Right.
And then you have to spend time talking to them.
And convincing them.
And there were 6 mutual aid calls. I don't know if I
Yes,
said
you
that, but
mentioned
yeah,
that,
okay. Which is not bad. They're keeping a very close line of mutual aid calls. And Mark will even call me and tell me there was a mutual aid call. We didn't go because of X, Y, and Z, so that I always have the information at my fingertips in case somebody's questioning what happened.
Wonderful.
So it's been, yeah, he's been great.
And does it show how many times we called for mutual aid?
It does. I think it was twice on here. So we are giving and we are getting, the mutual aid's really like Eastchester.
Right,
It's at
which
the
is,
top.
we're
Which is
sharing,
fine.
we're
We're
sharing,
sharing this community
resources.
wealth,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
And Eastchester serves them too, so.
Good, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And that, you know, transport to White Plains is longer,
It's a
which
longer
means it
trip.
was a more serious situation, I think.
And they, each time the ambulance gets there, the patient will tell them where they want to go, and they will evaluate at that point whether they can accommodate the patient's requests, or they
Oh, that's
can't, depending on staffing and where the ambulances
Yeah,
are.
I don't think
So
we-
they do that on site. So they just don't say, no, you can't go there.
Mhm.
They look at what the staffing and backup is, and then they'll talk to the supervisor, and then they'll go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the Monty one he told me about in Wakefield, there were 2 calls down there, but they were able to accommodate the
That's
patients.
great. Because that has a children's
Right, and then it was,
emergency room, which is
Yeah.
phenomenal. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I've taken my kids there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman McLaughlin on recreation.
The seniors had a very busy January. In addition to the normal events, they had a few special things. The Civics hosted a luncheon, there was pizza day, arts and crafts day, and bingo day. And thank you, Councilwoman Curtin, for rallying some prizes for the bingo day. And now there's talk of doing a bigger one in the future, perhaps multi-generational, maybe doing it on a Saturday.
Maybe do some
Bringing
fundraising.
grandkids and getting them involved. So that's very exciting to look forward to. Van usage for medical appointments was 33 trips, and that's to and from. In the rec department, a lot going on. They still have availability for their February break camps. Contact the recreation department or go online to the recreation website. They're offering sports, art, all sports, meaning dodgeball kind of things, in gym. Art, baseball, basketball, soccer, and volleyball. And you can register for the week or by day. Spring registration for after school and weekend activities starts on February 26th. And pending school availability and approval, summer camp registration, everybody write this down, February 26th.
Everybody like more interested.
Everybody wants to know when that is. Many groups were involved to come together for the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the Small Business Saturday / Pelham Half Marathon event, ironing out some of the details and hiccups that we had last year. We had people from the Civics, Tim Case, who's now the president and former councilman, Jim Arden, who's running the event. We had Christina Chenise from the chamber, as well as Amy Platt, our own Rudy DeSimone,
myself. We had Molly Girolamo and Mayor Chance Mullen. So we got a great representation, a lot of ideas coming out. Looks like we may be having a street fair during it, so not needing Carmen and not needing the gazebo in that area, freeing up more space for the Pelham Half. Also changing some times of things. Again, this is all still pending. So everybody was very, very cooperative. Some amazing ideas on, Rudy had suggested getting the fire department involved and having them do chili. They win in Westchester as best chili in the firehouse, and really engaging all the businesses in town during the time, and maybe compressing the time a little bit because the breakfast started at 8:30. We had the race even earlier, and then things were going. And there was talk about perhaps moving our event in the tree lighting, but maybe having it maybe just a half an hour earlier, just so we can all, right at dusk. But again, everybody was very, very cooperative and really willing to work together. And Chance even said he would close the street. And then he said, pending approval from the police department and everybody else. So I think it'll be an amazing event again.
The Excel sheet that was sent around,
Yes, there was some things that weren't quite right on that.
so they showed the tree lighting at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
I think that's too early.
that's too early. I was saying maybe 4:30, 4:45. And then lastly, last Saturday was Pelham Together's annual Winterfest. 3 hours of extremely talented teenagers singing and playing and entertaining us all. I saw infants to well into the senior citizen age, everybody enjoying themselves. There was also a food contest, one-pot meals that got pretty competitive and funny. There was macaroni and cheese and chili and flan and lava cake and ziti and meatballs. Everything was delicious. The buffalo chicken dip. That was delicious too. Yes, I tasted everything. I was not a judge. And I saw lots of smiles. So it was a very fun event.
And our town clerk's son, Mr. Drummond, wanted it.
That's
Yes.
right. Yes, he was.
It was super packed. It was so nice to see so many people out supporting.
It was. It was nice.
Any questions?
Why don't you do it?
Sure,
since you're
and then
more-
I'll, yep,
yes,
exactly.
since
So,
you're closer to
yep,
it.
so I received an email this weekend from Rob McGovern, who's the head of Pelham Travel. Travel soccer, sorry, that's my world, so yes. And which I forwarded to Kara, but, just give a little bit of background. I do a lot with Pelham Travel. I coach, a couple of teams for them. And he just has been expressing dismay over Hutch and that the original bond proposal was supposed to have fields for baseball and soccer to be actually used for games and events. And something happened along the way, and it cannot be used by either of those sports for any real games or even practices. They haven't been able to use it at all, Pelham Travel, at least as far as I know, since it opened. And, he's a prospect dad, and, for a lot of reasons is very upset that, there's not easy access there. And also, there's a constant struggle to have field space for these, all these travel programs along with the rec program. So I think he's already talked to the rec program. He's sort of appealed to me on town council, which is why I sent it to Kara. He also appealed to my husband, who's on the school board. And so I think we should think about whatever, some kind of maybe meeting with the school, and say the impact on the rec and travel programs, and do they have any solution, to
Do we know why you changed it? We can't use it?
We hadn't heard that, so,
Yeah, so, the other thing was, I thought there was supposed to be, and I brought this up at a few different meetings, with the school, or at, like, coffees and things, like school board,
Mhm.
when they do the coffees. I thought there was supposed to be a basketball court up there as well,
Yeah.
and it's not, that didn't happen. But when you said Rob McGovern, you're talking about Rob McGovern who lives in.
He lives in Chester
Right, so
Park, yep.
he's a Hutchinson.
Hutchinson, did I
Yeah.
say Prospect?
You
You
said
did, I
Prospect.
think losing my
I
mind.
think it was just.
He's a Prospect, I mean Hutchinson, Dad, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me.
I just
Yes,
wanted
he's a
to
Hutch
clarify.
dad, he's a Hutch,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
And
And he
that's-
worked
Yep.
hard to get that.
Yep,
box,
yep,
yes.
yep.
yeah.
So, yeah, that should be,
Yeah,
There-
yeah.
well, there's quarterly, there's a field committee meeting between the rec department and the
Yeah.
school.
And I know they're having one soon to, again, cement a lot of the summer programs, so I'll make sure they bring that up.
Yeah,
And if I can attend it, I will.
because that's where it should be brought up, actually.
Yeah.
Because they have jurisdiction over that.
because there was quite a big field there, as we.
It was a
know,
huge field.
That was used
Yeah.
all the time for baseball.
Baseball.
and
Yeah.
different things,
Is
so.
there no
Well,
field
I think
there?
it-
Is there no field at all
It
now?
was a big rock and left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was.
Is there
And
any
he
field
did
at
say
all?
The
The
old
really
Hutch had a
behind
fully
school
functional
there
baseball.
is.
Okay.
Yeah. The little
And they
kids
can't use
all
that
played
for
at
base-
that.
for
I
baseball and
remember they
soccer?
had the rock.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so more to come.
Yes. We'll work together and follow up and.
Okay, thank you.
Field space at a premium.
Not if that's the pool.
So,
Councilwoman Burke on court and legal.
okay, so, much of what I'm talking about is the constables. There's still haven't been able to obtain the constable vehicle that we purchased. There's an issue with the radio. I guess I want to implore at some point, like, do we pull it from the place that it's at? I mean, it's been so long. They're so frustrated. They've had issues in transporting, delays in transporting prisoners because the current vehicle is really in terrible shape. So
Didn't Phil say it was gonna be delivered this Friday? I mean, this past Friday?
been going on the same, like that was it was supposed to be last Friday, it was supposed to be the Friday before, and it's not Phil's fault. Obviously, whoever the people
Right.
that are fixing this,
Right.
it's something with the radio the last I heard, but does there come a point where we just say we have to bring it somewhere else? I don't know. So,
We're finding out as we speak.
Okay.
So it's just
Real
the
time.
situation is on
so very sad news for the constables. Yolinda Adorno Marrero and Dallas Ramirez Gillison are leaving. They both got jobs in police departments.
Oh, wow.
Chief Conte is, really proud of them, really happy for them, because that's part of this job. It is a stepping stone for people going on to bigger things. But unfortunately, we're in the process of finding two people. I think he has two people that are interested, and he's reviewing their credentials. So,
Would that leave us with no female if they leave?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so he did mention that, sort of segueing now into the Glover Field complex, that it's always hard to find people to staff that. And so if there does come the point when they don't need to staff that, it's really going to make things a lot better for that department. But obviously they do whatever we ask them, and they'll continue to do it. So Dan, should I give the update on Glover?
Sure.
Okay, so as everybody knows, we sent a letter in coordination with the school district and PTAC to a number of electeds, and George Latimer has taken sort of control and is spearheading a group to meet. I do have, so he responded by letter specifically to Supervisor McLaughlin and Superintendent Cheryl Champ, sort of, saying how seriously they're taking this. I have the letter. Do you think should I read it? Yeah, why not, right? So it was a letter dated January 22nd of 2024. Dear Dr. Champ and Supervisor McLaughlin, I'm writing in response to the January 5th, 2024 letter from the Pelham Town Council, Pelham Union Free School District Board of Education and Administration, and the Pelham Council of PTA's Committee on Pedestrian Safety. I directed the Westchester County Planning Department to review this issue, and we also spoke with the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council, of which I am a co-chair. We have determined that the safety issues near the Glover Field complex would be an eligible activity under the New York Metropolitan Council's Community Planning Workshop Program. We believe that engaging all stakeholders in a workshop would be the best way to determine what is needed and what opportunities exist through various programs and funding sources. So they're going to be working with us, and I believe Dan has reached out to the person identified by County Executive Latimer to coordinate and schedule a meeting.
So we had, prior to this letter, Kristen had set up a meeting with the elected officials to look at what's going on down there. February 15th?
February 15th, yeah.
So I want to invite these people if they want to come, but we also want to get them to give us this meeting date. So I asked them today, what's the update on this meeting date? And hopefully when they come back to me tomorrow, I'll tell them what we're doing on the 15th so we can get them. But this is exactly what we needed.
This is it. Yep. Yep.
We had to get somebody to say, hey, look, let's go down there and look at that place.
Yeah, Latimer has been very responsive from the second, left my email box. So, yeah, this is the start of
Can you,
things.
since that's handy, can you give me a copy of
Sure.
that at the end? Okay,
Yeah, I don't need this.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Thank you. I think this is really important. If we could get that all fixed up, I'm not sure we need to have constables down there.
Yeah,
If we got it all fixed up.
Yeah. That
Anyway.
would be ideal.
Philip went up to Mamaroneck, he said he saw it, it's in the shop, so it should be any day.
I know, that's what he said
That's
last
what they
week.
were saying.
Cross my fingers. What else do you have?
I have, okay, another pretty big item. So the judges reached out to me with a request. They're looking for essentially a town prosecutor, which I think it could be anybody, but I think ideally an attorney, to handle their vehicle and traffic tickets, and in particular ones that are from New York State Police and Westchester County, because oftentimes those officers don't show up, and if that happens, then the case gets dismissed. And apparently we're losing significant revenue as a result, because these are often pretty hefty fines, but it's also, we're keeping dangerous individuals out driving. Some of these people have multiple tickets, and they just kind of keep, speeding along. Thank you very much. So their idea was to hire somebody, and they're gonna, the goal is it just would be for 2 hours a month. They would put all of those cases on at the same time, and sort of dispose of them at the same time every single month. And it seems like a great idea. The DA's office, we have some agreement with them where they allow us to designate an individual to serve as a prosecutor for DMV cases, not DWI or drugs or alcohol type vehicle and traffic, just the ordinary ones.
Speeding.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a great idea.
So when,
And it doesn't have to be a lawyer?
it doesn't, but Chris and I had a conversation about this. Judge John and I were together yesterday for another reason.
Not because you were in court.
No.
For speeding.
Sorry.
I was actually looking, he had a place that he was suggesting to put the ambulance, and he brought me over there yesterday to look at it. And I think it's ridiculous that we don't have somebody like that. I would suggest even that Kristen could do it if she wanted to do it.
I would love to do it.
And if the board doesn't mind, I would suggest Kristen does it. And I'm talking about not as a volunteer, I'm talking about as an individual
Yeah.
that gets compensated for it.
There's no, there's no conflict of
Conflict.
interest?
I think they would have to probably vet it with the Office of Court Administration.
to protect you.
So if it's not, we need somebody, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there was 26 tickets that didn't get processed. People doing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
People doing crazy things on the road, and they weren't even responsible for it.
I know East Chester has that.
Yeah, they do.
I know, East Fishkill has it, and I'm not gonna go why I know that.
So if the
And a
board,
couple others, but
Yeah, it's good. It
the,
seems like a
the
revenue.
state
also.
troopers and whatever
revenue
don't
generator.
if the
show
board,
up.
if the board agrees, we'll let Kristen go forward with that and find out what can be done, and then we'll let her figure out who's gonna do whatever's gotta do. Everybody in
Absolutely.
agreement with that?
Good idea, yeah.
Great,
All right, thank you.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very important. I think that's a great idea.
Also,
I can't believe it hasn't been done.
right?
You know, what John told me yesterday is that in the past, that what the Pelham Police did do it, they don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because I was surprised. Too.
Yeah.
They used to.
So that's where we're at. Anything else?
I have
Yes, reports.
committee reports, yeah. So the receiver of taxes for the month of January 2024, school taxes received an amount of $19,874,801.45. School collection fee of $166,952.93. Duplicate payments received $212.92. Penalties and interest received $4,377.12. Taxpayers agreement in an amount received $2,329. Miscellaneous $221. Pro rata is $380.48 for a total received of $20,049,274.90. And for the judges, for the month of December 2023, Judge Kagan received an amount of $12,028. And for the month of December 2023, Justice Gardner received an amount of $43,335.
Any questions? Okay, Councilwoman Curtin. Library.
On the library. The library is celebrating Black History Month, February, and it put together an abridged list of books, music, movies, and other resources about Black history that you can find at the library or in digital collections. Did you know, I have a question for you all, did you know that you can check out more than just books at the library?
Like what, DVDs?
No, there's a lot.
What is a DVD?
Yes, yes, they used to have,
I'm dating
no,
myself.
they used to have an entire wall.
I
of
thought so.
DVDs.
Yes,
Yes,
they
and
did.
they still do have it, but nobody typically
Has
has not
that.
many people checks it out. No, it's called the Library of Things. So it's continuously growing. It includes bocce sets. If you want to play bocce at the bocce court, you need a bocce set. You can check that out. Birding backpacks to go bird watching. And they added a new one, this museum passes.
Okay, well, that we knew about.
And then they added something this month. It's a measuring wheel, which is kind of interesting.
But what does it measure?
It measures it's good for gardening or lawn projects, calculating distance of fire pits to meet fire
Oh,
code.
like.
But it's like a one-time thing that you need.
Right.
Rather than
Why
buy
not?
it,
That's
go
true.
check it
That's
out at the
cool.
library.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I like that they keep continuously thinking up new ways to help the community. And it's always free. Everything's free at the library. This Wednesday, February 7th, the Junior League is presenting an in-person author talk. It's called Beyond Happiness by Dr. Jennifer Gutman. She'll be discussing her debut book, Beyond Happiness, The 6 Secrets of Lifetime Satisfaction. And I'm going to be attending that.
Me too.
Can you share all of those with us?
We'll share the secret.
Absolutely. Everything here is on the library website too. And there's other activities. One of their annual, I think it's the second annual stuffed animal sleepover at the library.
Oh, that was a big hit last year.
February, and I think the children drop off their stuffed animals and they have an adventure at the library that's documented in a video. And I think Augusta would like to show the video at the March.
The what? What?
You know, we could put the video on our website. We could put it on
That's
our
really
website.
good.
Put it on our
Where does she want to show the video? Where does she want
She
to?
show the video. She asked if she could show the video at the town meeting.
Oh, town meeting. I thought
She thought the dinner.
Oh, no.
I was gonna talk about makeup.
No, I think so. I think that's all I have for the library.
Any questions from all the councilmen?
That's so cute.
Good, okay. I'd like to talk about the Guild Room. Unfortunately, the Guild Room, we have taken it over for the ambulance people. And there's a lot of individuals in this organization that believe it's their room. And I'm sorry to say it's not their room. It's the town's room. And you can't just walk in and say, throw out the 2 EMTs, and they have medicines in there and things like that. Now, it's unfortunate that we haven't got a place to put them at this particular time. But we're all gonna have to adjust. And I'll give you an instance. One of the seniors has a program, intergenerational, with students from the high school, and he has a program on Tuesdays from 3 to 5 that he used to Guild Room. He said to me, Dan, can I use the library's conference room? I didn't say yes. I went to Augusta and I asked Augusta to get a hold. Make long story short, that's what they're going to do. They're going to use the library.
That's probably even better.
Well, that's how we need to adjust here a little until
Yeah.
we figure out what's going on. What we can't have is people going in there and throwing these people out, which has happened in the most recent past. So I would like the board to concur with the only people that they could tell EMTs to leave that room would be Rudy and or Molly. It can't be a court clerk. It can't be a recreation leader. It has to be somebody that's controlling this. And Ray gets on the phone like, I'm gonna say every day when something happens. Maybe Joe Durnan had a wedding he wanted to perform there. He wants to kick out the EMT people. You can't have a Joe Durnan doing this and Joe Smo doing that and Mary Smo doing this because that's an important essential service we're supporting to the community. We have to control it. And I would like the people to control it is Ruth Ann and or Molly because they are the people that know what the implications are. And they have the telephone numbers of the EMTs and everybody else. Questions, discussions?
So I'm speaking on behalf of the judges. This is very much a challenge for them because they have scenarios where they have, for example, dangerous situations where recently they had a prisoner for a criminal case who was acting erratically, and they wanted to remove him from the general court space, and he was surrounded by cops and the judges, and they had to do an arraignment or whatever the discussion was with him out of the general population. So they do have circumstances that are difficult. So they have another example is I'm told they have a felony arraignment coming up. It actually was postponed, which is great. It was supposed to be this week. It's postponed. But if there's an arraignment, it has to be in a different space. And
Different space than what?
than their general courtroom. So if it's something in advance,
Sometimes it's the seniors are in there. Sometimes you get arrested and you have to be arraigned. It's not during court hours.
They used to come up here.
Right,
There was a
yeah.
conflict.
Right.
the issue is when there's so many things going on and they're looking for a quiet space and a private space, right? So they're concerned. And I think if it's something where they know in advance, it's not ideal, right? But they can prepare and
Well, as I tried to
Find us,
explain to them the other day, all they have to do is call me, and these guys should not. It's happened 4 times this past week, and everybody's giving them direction to get out of there. The court, the seniors, the marriage officer, blah blah blah. So all they have to do is call me
That's
and
my
have one person give them. I would tell them, come up here, have a cup of coffee. Let them have their arraignment. You know,
It's just
it
a
needs to be
difficult situation
organized.
when they have a prisoner who is, you know, a defendant who is acting irate, and they're trying to extricate him from the, you know,
And that
general
was-
population.
Was that during regular court hours?
Yes.
But
you
we
know,
do have a room in the back
I was
that
just
has a
gonna
Well,
say,
bar.
that's what I didn't understand, is there, so, I mean, you have the rec department
That's where the
behind it.
prisoners used to be held.
There is
So-
a
There's
holding
There's a
cell.
bar, there's a
So
handicap cuff bar.
why wouldn't they have used that, or is there
Because
some?
they got used to using the guild room, and that's the problem we're having, is that everybody's gotten so used to the guild room that they think it's their room.
I mean, I think the rec department is a great space, however, there are multiple people that are
No.
working there.
No, it's
off
not
the
in
rec.
there.
It's not in there. Oh, yeah.
It's like a hallway right outside the
You
rec
can see the
office.
window right there. It's the hallway. We made that for the.
hallway, which
it's like a
I've stood in
holding
there before.
area.
I know what you're talking about.
It's up the
It's
steps.
really
you know.
narrow, that's tough,
Yes.
that's tough,
Really
if you have a
If you have
difficult
6
prisoner.
Yeah, you have.
I
But
don't
it
know if
has
that's
a
a good
bar and it
solution.
has a seat. That's a holding area. When they used to bring the prisoners in, that's where
That's
they
where
would
they
put
held
them for court.
I understand what Kristen's saying, and I think
Yeah.
I understand what Dan is
Yes.
Supervisor Goff is saying, what Dan is expressing, and what Ray's saying. And I think that there's the exception. I agree. Recreation leaders should not tell the EMS folks to leave. The marriage officer should not. You know, but if it's the court and it's a judge and they're dealing with a difficult situation, I think that would, to me, in my mind, that's the exception to the rule of.
I understand that, but let me tell you, it's not just their personal stuff in there. If the bus is not running, it's full of narcotics.
Yeah.
So you're asking them to leave, and to leave their narcotics there
They don't
for
take
10
those-
minutes.
They don't take
Well,
them.
Are you
Can
asking
they
them to leave
lock
for
it,
10
can
minutes?
they
or
lock
you're
it up somewhere, cause
Where? In the glass case in
There is
there?
no lock.
There's a cabinet with a lock.
can
It
we
seems
get a
to be-
cabinet, because they have to leave at some point at the end of the day and it gets locked up, right, so if it's
No,
locked
No,
up.
it goes
No,
with
it goes
them.
with
It
them.
goes with them,
With them.
okay.
Well, they can take, if they're leaving, so let's say they're leaving because they're going to get lunch. Let's say, it's lunchtime. Do they bring it with them in the bus?
Yeah, they probably put it back in the bus. I don't know what, I have to ask them.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult because we're all working in a situation where the courts doesn't have the optimum space. They don't have chambers to talk to defendants and like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
So
I think it's a challenge.
Well,
It's a
but
challenge for
believe me,
everyone.
believe
Yes.
me, that's the point. This is a challenge that has to be dealt with.
and you
And
can
all I'm saying is that it shouldn't be I'm sorry, the EMT people don't know who Dan McLaughlin is, who Karen McLaughlin is,
Right.
who Maura Curtin is. So this person walks in, that's a clerk, that says, get out. And they turn around and say, so all I'm asking is that there's one person that does the ability to ask them to leave, and that would be Rudy and or Molly.
so if the judges
The judges would have to say to Rudy, I have an arraignment. Can we make arrangements to get
Okay.
that?
9 out of
staff
10
out
times
there?
they know that they have an arraignment in advance because they
Right.
have to come.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
So
And this sounded like a one-off situation where it was somebody that they didn't expect to be in that kind of situation. So
did you discuss
What-
it with Judge Gardner? Did you
Discuss what?
the arraignment situation and the use of the guild room so that
Yes, he knows. He also called me today. So I had a long discussion with him today about the same subject.
And then we're gonna have another conversation in a second about what he's asked for.
Okay. And I have one last question. What are the hours that the
EMTs are there.
EMTs
7-7.
7 to 7? So their Thursday nights are clear. They can use the guild room Thursday nights.
Yeah,
So
'cause
it's
they leave
just
at
that
7 o'clock.
Wednesday that it's really.
well,
No,
or
no,
arraignment.
Or
arraignment.
Wednesday, we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
What I'm asking for is,
Then Rudy's the point person.
I want the board to agree with me that she's the firm point person, because we can't have multiple people saying.
Yes, I
"Get
agree
out."
with that.
I
Yeah.
understand,
I agree with that.
I can,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay,
we can
Yes,
definitely work with
yes.
that.
all right, so let's talk about Wednesday.
Okay.
So, Ray got a phone call today from John, Judge John, about having availability for the guild room on Wednesday morning
For
from
2 hours,
9:30 to 11:30 or
something like that.
8:30.
8:30 to 10:30.
8:30, 10:30, I think that's what you said, where they do the traffic and that.
That's
I haven't, Ray talked to me about it this afternoon, I said, let's talk about it. I'm gonna ask you, Rudy, and then I'll ask you, Ray. I mean, Eastchester's been very, very cooperative. Could we say that from 8:30 to 10:30 on Wednesdays, could you please take that rig and go around town, or show off the rig around town, or spend 2 hours up here, and have coffee up here during that time?
I will call Mark. I have to say, yes, they've been very accommodating too, but they didn't get the warmest welcome in this town when they first started.
Sure.
And it got off on a terrible foot, and they're still reeling from that. So their reaction is a lot of times, well, you wanted us, but there's no place for us, permanent place for us, and we keep getting asked to leave. So I just want to tell you what they react sometimes a little emotionally about it because they didn't get a warm welcome in the first week.
Just want to acknowledge that wasn't the judges.
No, it wasn't the
No,
judges. No, or us. It
Because
was
it sounds
something
like they're all
separate,
getting along
something
pretty,
separate.
pretty
Yeah.
well.
Oh, yes. So, if Rudy's willing, we can approach Mark tomorrow and talk to him.
Can we have an executive session?
Sure.
Okay, next. The Army Band concert is coming. Now, I don't know if either of anyone at this table have gone to one of these.
I feel like I have when I was
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it was originally because of
What?
Kiami.
Yamis.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Bill Kiami's son was in the Army Band.
Maybe he still is.
And he brought them here, I'm going to say 10 years ago, because the civics were involved in it. And it's unbelievable. I mean, they're really,
When did
really good.
Yeah, when
They
they
played-
April 21st, which
They
is a
played
Sunday.
Tunerville.
Really?
There was a band. Maybe it was a.
The smaller
Oh,
one.
yeah. I did
This
see
one-
that.
It
this
was like their jazz band name.
Oh, no, this one is, I mean, it's a real orchestra.
Wow.
It's
So
real-
amazing.
they're playing outside?
No, they're playing in the
Indoors?
gym.
Okay,
In the
okay,
gym.
okay.
In the high school gym.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Really is pretty impressive. I was very-
Break the time down, but it just, otherwise I'll go back to the email that
I know there was a meeting.
Time.
Time.
I'll look for it.
I don't know, did I get a time? I don't think I got a time.
Oh, you just got a
So,
date, okay.
I just got a date from Germany. But I'll update everybody.
That's very exciting.
As we get
We all know we are hosting the WMOA dinner at Sergio's on March 14th. Rudy has arranged to take over the whole bottom floor.
Nice, lovely.
So,
We had it there once before and it was wonderful.
They're very accommodating,
Yeah.
and let's not forget, it is a showcase for the restaurant too.
Sure.
So
Yeah?
with all these other communities coming in, it's good for them.
Yeah.
And they're easy to work with. They're great. So
just so you know that we do nothing here.
Mhm.
They bring the speaker, they bring that, and I introduce you guys, and that's all we do. Anyway, so that's the
oh,
14th. I attended, and Councilman Kirk was there too, Danny Fund this past Saturday night, which was a fun night, a really good band.
They had the FDR band.
They were really good. They were really good. Okay, so building plan update. So we got two things going on. We got Maura's effort regarding the inside of the townhouse, which Maura had to follow up and get some more information on the inside of it to give to the,
State Historic Preservation Society.
and we enlisted the architect to work with Maura and our building director Phil, and Art Sinter's
That's right.
gonna work with us. Art's
Great.
been involved in things like that, so he was really interested in doing that. So that's one thing that's going on, and I signed that agreement,
Yes.
I think I CC'd you.
And Danielle already found the original plans for the building online and has it in the Google folder for us, so it's really, it's good stuff, because, in addition to renovating the bathrooms and making it the kitchen bigger, one of the things we're looking at is having a door go into the new kitchen from the actual space.
Room.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that
Which would
instead
be
of going out.
Yes,
Yeah,
instead of going all the way around,
Yeah,
so.
that makes
So
sense.
much better.
Yes.
So that's an ongoing project, and then, as you know, we signed Danielle's company to do the architectural work on putting up
Structure.
a structure. She's actually gonna start working on that this week as well. Whether we put it right behind us where the police cars are, it would have to go,
Rudy.
in my opinion,
Danielle.
fill in with the whole aspect of
building.
the buildings.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be permanent. This is meant to be permanent.
Whatever, if we do it here or we do it down the block, yes. We're not making anything temporary at this point.
Well, when she comes back with the plan, I'll ask all my questions, because I have a list already.
That, the townhouse is one project, this structure is another project. I'm going to say that one's one and one's two, and I think the one is the structure for the ambulance. Because we get back the guild room and we get taken care of the ambulance and the,
And if it's big
Yeah.
enough, we make it big enough, they will be both there. We will take the flight car out of Pelham Manor.
Kara, this is so preliminary.
Right, no, that's why
But I'm thinking this way, not that way. So if you look behind you, if we did it here, this way,
Mhm.
and make one floor, and then we'd have the fly car, the ambulance, and a living,
Quarters.
not a second floor.
Okay.
But that, I mean, that's just talk. But anyway, that's what, the next thing on our agenda.
And if we find another place to potentially put it, we have a plan, we can put it
Exactly.
somewhere else rather than.
So talking about that, and I'm telling you, we've been looking. So I don't know if you look at the post office, if you look at the post office and you look at the parking lot, on the right-hand side is an empty lot.
Yeah.
2/3 of that is owned by New York, Westchester County, and 1/3 is by New York State. Westchester County, the gentleman I spoke to, Westchester County, said, I didn't know we owned that, but his guess is it's by the Parks Department. That is the Parks Department, will never be able to do anything there. I sent him all the information that we
Right.
had in our file, so he's gotten that, he hasn't gotten back to me on that. So yes, you're right, whether we do it
Yeah.
here or do it some, but we need to get the plans put together.
Right.
So, questions on that?
Is there any other possibility for a temporary, kind of not temporary, but more short-term solution to have the guild room come back and have that space be more?
Well,
Like
if you can
usable.
come up with
Yeah.
something,
I
let me
feel
know.
like, yeah, okay, we'll keep.
Nobody's stepping up to the plate.
Upstairs,
I
No,
know.
neither
they
village
have a
is stepping
couple of
up.
rooms, and now
Right.
Yolanda doesn't need a separate space. I mean, it's not great up there.
Where?
Upstairs. It's not great. Because I'd have to go up and down the stairs, but
With all that stuff.
there are those couple of rooms.
you could potentially put something in there for a bathroom.
You could also make that the place where they do the arraignment.
Yeah.
If anybody's, look,
Yeah.
I have not, you know,
Yeah.
it reminds me of one time when I was out of work and I said to everybody I spoke to that I was out of work and I needed a job. I've talked to everybody, I need a place to put the ambulance. It's not, I mean,
Yeah.
when somebody says to me, what's going on in town, I need an ambulance, place to put the
Right,
ambulance.
right.
I need a place to put the ambulance, I need a place to put the ambulance.
We all do that too.
Yeah.
And people
I know,
walk
yeah.
across the street now when we start talking to them. What?
Which is why we need to zero in on a spot, and this is our spot. And we don't get involved with other municipalities, and I don't see, it's a parking
Okay,
lot,
okay, we're gonna have Danielle. We're
Yeah.
gonna have Danielle.
do it there.
We understand your position.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Move,
just to-
move.
Well, I just said Danielle, we just told Danielle to get here. Yes, I'm sorry.
I guess 1.3 in what we need to start looking at our meeting last week. Chan seems to think he's moving into the municipal hall in August.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when the police will be moving over. He said that was a little bit later, but that space is gonna free up, according to him, this year.
Well,
You mean Sparks Avenue Village Hall?
No,
No.
Oh, downstairs.
Downstairs. The police are moving out.
The
He's
pu-
moving in August. And
the people that are moving first is the fire department. And the reason the fire department is moving first is because the developer
right,
is taking over the firehouse.
Right.
So there's not
he
gonna
needs
be
to bring
any
that down.
of that from downstairs until probably the end of the year. But hey, we'll see what happens.
But we still have to have that on the radar.
Yeah.
And
There's
Yeah.
3 things on the radar, that,
Right.
that, and that. Oh, any questions?
Executive session.
More to come.
Sorry?
Executive session.
Yeah, do I have a motion to go into executive
So
session?
moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, Annie.
Yes, no problem.
well, this
Thank
was
you.
the loneliest meeting we've had.
Sure has.
We didn't even
It's
have
kinda
Augusta,
nice.
we didn't have Tom, we didn't have anybody from the Pelham Examiner.
Tom